So I just dated myself, right? Like I asked the young lady back there if she would videotape me. So yeah, I think maybe you have a couple of years on me, but everybody else I'm older than.
I think Mike was actually
more than
you're
41.
You're taking a video.
I have years on him.
Oh yeah, no, I got it.
Oh, okay. No. I thought he was calling you out. Anyway, I haven't read a poem. I haven't written a poem in like 20 years. This is the first poem I've written in 20 years, so I'm going to read it.
Yeah!
Okay. So I wrote this poem because a friend of mine is like a great musician, and he kind of inspired this. It's called The Lament for Lovers Lost. I felt him deep. Etched into every lyric was his lament for love lost. The beauty of the strokes makes it hard to distinguish the difference between the euphoria of the harmonies and the thrust of anguish with every plucking of a chord. Before I knew him, I knew this kind of confusion up close and personal. The obsession, the knowing, the irrational longing despite the irreversible side effects of promises broken, perceptions betrayed, expectations unfulfilled, and futures planned, demolished. I felt him deep. Hearing the light and dark between the lyrics and changes, I felt the familiar in the stinging degrees, finding a crippling comfort in despair, and playing it over and over in my heart, remembering every scar on his face, the exact length of his hair, recalling the tiniest details of every expression he made when he came. His has left me wondering how. How does love leave? Where does it go? What happens when the dream and reality no longer match? Where do you go? What do you come to believe when the space in between is the only place that makes sense? I felt him because I knew me. I remembered every detail with such clarity that it's made me question my own sanity. The intensity of our passion, the hopefulness that accompanied our joy, followed by the removal of love to be replaced with rage and sadness unimaginable, had me carrying the perpetual cross of failure for all to see. I know that sometimes there will be sorrow, but why so deep, so often? I felt him deep. I felt his longing for love hidden within the breaths he took between each phrasing. I knew him because I knew this place. I recalled the awkwardness and excitement of looking into his eyes for the very first time. I obsessed over the memory of how forcefully and desperately he grabbed my face to receive my kiss, as if he couldn't get deep enough into me. I knew it in that moment. Love would last forever. The piercing of my foolish heart the first time he told me he loved me will forever ring in my ear as purely as every chord he releases. The way he caresses his guitar ignites reflection of his rough hand resting lovingly in the small of my back. It was the simple gestures that let me know that love lived within us. Every woody beat echoed my heartbeat when he looked into me as we lay loving. I hung on to every word, knowing that somewhere within the crescendo, the secret to a happy ending would soon be revealed. It was not. I felt him deep. Though we never touched, he accompanied me over green mountains, wading in the deep sparkle of the ocean, sitting alone next to silent fires, and covering the long, quiet asphalts that led to California. A Hawaiian September was made perfect by still blues, little greens, evening stars, and memories of Flagstaff. I knew him because I knew me. So to see a life laid so bare, so beautifully strummed and hummed to the highs and lows of love gained, love lost, served up as a familiar offering to the junkie within, knowing what's best but still longing for the worst, longing for him. I felt him deep because he played my life. He sang the song of an eternity of love-filled dreams. He wrote my life as if he'd watched it from afar and pieced it all together, etched it into the memory of 6 strings. He seemed to know my life as intimately as she who created me. I felt him deep. I felt him through forced smiles, limped hugs, hollow glances, uncomfortable silences. I felt him because I felt me, hopelessly trying to fill the empty void through the hoarding of friends, loose lovers, travel, and experiences. He seemed to know the trouble that accompanied each reckless leap into love. Yet we continue to leap. We continue to love because we remain. We return to the child within, who still has hopes and dreams. The heat is what draws us, like the thirsty to muddy water, and we find ourselves again stung by degrees, burned by our foolish desires. How does he know? How could he? Did I reveal myself to him in a dream? How can he so perfectly expose my life to the world as if he had crafted it himself? How did he magically provide the soundtrack of my life from 3,000 miles away? He felt me deep, though he did not know me. He sang me perfectly, though we'd never met. His life is mine, my life his. We are mirror images of a lifetime of loving limitlessly, joyfully, painfully, and hopefully. We radiate from a familiar place, and it is in this place where our lives meet. In the still hopefulness of love and happiness, we remain.
That's it.